Hey, how's it going, fight fans? Welcome to Mind for Combat. If you're new to the channel, my name's Rohan, and this is my platform where I do fight sports related content. If you're new here, why don't you help me grow my platform? All you have to do is subscribe to the channel, like the video if you like it, maybe hit that bell icon so you get notified every time I upload a video. Look, it don't cost you nothing, and it will help me hit a lot of personal goals, and I'm striving towards, racing towards that 2K mark at this point in time, and COVID's kind of thrown off the channel, so I need your support. Help me get there, guys, and I'm relying on you. Anyways, with that said, in this video I'll be breaking down one of the biggest boxing matches of the year, in my opinion anyway. I know there's not officially a title on the line in this fight, but there's a lot of key variables coming into this fight that really do mean a lot in the scheme of boxing and to me personally as a fan. So for one, Oleksandr Usyk hasn't really been very active since 2018 when he became the undisputed Cruiserweight world champion, knocked out Tony Bellew, but 2019 he only fought once. He fought against Chaz Witherspoon, who's not really that much of a fighter. Then because of the pandemic, of course, this year's been pretty much of a loss as well. He's got one fight coming up, and that's this fight here. And this is going to be his first true test at heavyweight. I don't mean no disrespect to Chaz Witherspoon, but he's not really the heavyweight fighter that Dereck Chisora is, and this is going to be a real test against a true heavyweight, a veteran, a guy who's been fighting the very best in the world for a long time, regardless of if he's been beating them. Dereck Chisora, his caliber cannot really be questioned. So for Oleksandr Usyk, who I deem to be one of the best pound for pound fighters in the world right now, and skill set wise I think he's better than every heavyweight in the world, including Fury, but it's just size. So size is going to be a big question coming into this fight, and it's one that's going to look to be answered because Chisora isn't a small man. Yes, he's shorter than Usyk technically, but he's actually a lot thicker, a lot broader. He carries a lot more weight. I think there's going to be a good difference of at least 20-30 pounds maybe by the time they step into the ring. Maybe a little less, but Chisora is the time-tested, trialed, veteran, grizzled heavyweight fighter. And the winner here is in line for a shot at the WBO title, and that's currently held by Anthony Joshua. And that's a very, very important title, very, very important night for both of these men. Chisora, this is practically his last opportunity to win a world title. If he can beat Usyk, then he finds himself there once again. And who would have thought that after he got knocked out by Dillian Whyte in their second fight? So here we are, big fight, really, really important for both men. And it's one fight that I cannot wait for. So without further ado, let me go into the breakdown, and I'm going to go through the tailor the tape step by step. So Usyk is still only 33 years old. Heavyweights tend to have a longer shelf life, and what's important to note with Usyk, he's only had 17 professional fights, and that being the case, yes, he is an Olympic gold medalist as an amateur boxer. He's got some wear and tear on him from his amateur days, but he's still relatively fresh in the professional game, so he hasn't taken a lot of damage. Yes, he's been in there with some of the very best, and he's packed a lot in that short period of time, but he still only had 17 fights. He fights Dereck Chisora, who's 36 years old. Now that's 3 years older than Usyk, but he's been around in the pro game for a long time. We've seen him suffer some bad knockouts. He got knocked out by, of course, Dillian Whyte. He's been beaten up real bad by Tyson Fury. We've seen Chisora have really a whirlwind career, up, down, up, down. There's been no predicting where he's going to end up, and this is a very, very important night for him to kind of establish who he is and make his mark known. This is his last opportunity at 36, so big night for both men. Usyk has a professional record of 17 wins and 0 losses, as I mentioned earlier, and Chisora comes into this fight with a professional record of 32 wins and 9 losses. Now, yes, Chisora is vastly more experienced technically than him, but I think it's important to note that Usyk spent his career fighting world championship fights against some of the best fighters there are, against some of the guys that are currently world champions in Cruiserweight, and he was an undisputed world champion, whereas Chisora's never been a world champion. Yeah, he fought Vitaly Klitschko for the world title, but he didn't win it. He's never won a world title. I think the biggest accomplishment he's had as a professional was winning a European title. Now, that's nothing to be laughed at, but there's a vast difference in the caliber of fighter that they've been fighting and winning against in particular, so that's very important to note. Oleksandr Usyk stands at 6'3" tall, which actually makes him an inch taller than Dereck Chisora, and he also enjoys a 4-inch reach advantage with a 78-inch reach as opposed to Chisora's 74-inch reach. How he utilizes it is going to be very interesting. I think he'll be able to make the most of it when you take in consideration, his footwork. Talking about his footwork, let's talk about their styles. I'll describe Usyk as a technically sound specialist boxer who relies on his footwork and hand speed. He's got really good hand speed. He isn't necessarily the biggest hitter. Yes, he can KO Tony Bellew flat, but that's more based on how he lands, where he lands, his shot selection, his precision, his footwork's brilliant, head movements is excellent. He's a wizard in that ring. He trains with Vasyl Lomachenko, and that camp just really turns out some really talented, true superstar boxers. When you're talking about their abilities, it's just mind-blowing. And for Chisora, he likes to fight in the pocket, come forward, rough you up. He's got that Philly shell style, and he likes to get in there, rough people up, and throw big punches, overhands. He'll eat shots, and he'll defensively, he's good defensively, but I wouldn't say he's the most defensively sound boxer. He's no heavyweight Floyd Mayweather, for example, but he is good. He's good all around. He's got big power. He's got good chin. He's got good conditioning, and he looks to be in the shape of his life. So a very, very big fight for both these men. Let's look at some of their key wins. Now for Chisora, he has got some really good wins domestically. He's beaten the likes of Sam Sexton when Sam Sexton was on a run. And then, of course, he's gone on to beat guys like Malik Scott. Malik Scott was undefeated at the time. He was a really good fighter. Kevin Johnson is a grizzled veteran journeyman fighter, but that's a good win, especially when he beat Kevin Johnson. I think it mattered a little bit more. Of course, he had that spectacular knockout win against Carlos Takam, and his most recent win against David Price was a good win. Oleksandr Usyk's resume is a bit more, beefy. He's got a legendary resume already. In my opinion, he's probably got the best resume of any cruiserweight of all time, including Evander Holyfield. Now, I'm not saying he's better, greater fighter than Evander Holyfield. I just think he's done more at cruiserweight. So Oleksandr Usyk has wins over the likes of Tony Bellew. Tony Bellew's an animal. Murat Gassiev, a former undefeated world champion when he fought him. Maurice Brady's, Usyk gave him his only loss. Marco Huck is a legend of the cruiserweight division and the European boxing game. And of course, he's beaten the likes of Michael Hunter, who's a top contender at heavyweight now. Not to mention guys like Glowacki that he's beaten, and so many other guys. So he's only got 17 wins, but he's got loads of incredible wins. The biggest issue that Usyk's going to have coming into this fight, I think, is going to be the size. Has he really and truly became a heavyweight? Has he adapted to the size? Yes, he's had plenty of time to get used to the division now, because it's been 2 years since he left the cruiserweight division. So I have to imagine he's been putting on muscle and getting used to the weight class in that time. Yeah, he only had one fight against a journeyman caliber fighter, but he's had some time to get used to heavyweight now. For Dereck Chisora, the biggest issue he's going to have is his technical deficiencies against Usyk, and I think Usyk's going to use his skill set and his footwork to, exploit those deficiencies in Chisora's game. The X factor for Usyk's going to be his speed and his footwork, and of course his technical capabilities. For Chisora, it's going to be he's a true heavyweight, so his size, even though on stats he sounds smaller, but he's not. His punching power and how uncomfortable he's going to make Usyk in there, and I don't think that Chisora should be written off, not for a second. Let's get into my prediction. So this is a really, really good fight, and I think it comes down to a couple of things. I think it comes down to Oleksandr Usyk's footwork and Chisora's ability to get inside the pocket, stay in the pocket, and push Usyk against the ropes. If he can push Usyk against the ropes and take away Usyk's movement, of course, I think he'll be the stronger man in there. If he can push him against the rope, take away Usyk's movement, work the body, and start landing them uppercuts, overhand rights, start making it really messy and ugly. Don't make this a boxing match, make this a fight. I think he'll have a lot of success. Do I think he'll necessarily be able to do that? Not necessarily. I think Usyk's footwork is going to really talk for itself in this fight. I think Usyk's going to be able to outmaneuver him, pump out that jab, and he's going to be able to use the jab and his footwork to make openings in Chisora's game when Chisora gets frustrated. And I think Usyk's going to be fast enough, smart enough, and swift enough to capitalize on those openings. Now, I don't think he's necessarily got the power to knock out Chisora. I think Chisora's a really durable, tough guy with a great chin. But I think he's got enough to avoid Chisora's forward pressure. I think he's got enough in his game to angle out, make it awkward for Chisora. And I think he's got enough skills to be able to light up Chisora practically all night. Now, that's not to say I'm counting out Chisora. Chisora's a true heavyweight, hits hard, a veteran of the game, had 41 professional fights, and he's looked in the best form of his career, going 5-1 in his last 6, with that only loss being to Dillian Whyte in a fight that he was winning up until the point he got left hook KO'd. But I'm leaning on Usyk to get this. I think Usyk's going to outbox him. I think he's going to use his footwork, and I think he's going to, just win the fight overall. I think Usyk for a unanimous decision after outboxing Chisora for at least 9 of the 12 rounds. Maybe later on Chisora might come stronger as the size starts to wear on Usyk, but it's going to be a great learning experience for Usyk, and I think it's only going to get better and better. So guys, for my official prediction, Oleksandr Usyk for the decision. after what could be a tough final few rounds. Anyways, guys, love to know your predictions, so comment below. Let me know if you're as excited about this fight as I am. If you're new to the channel, remember to like, subscribe, share, all that jazz. And enjoy the preview of the video that you guys might have missed at the end of this video. Check it out. If you enjoyed the preview, then my editor Habib, thank you Habib, is gonna leave a little clickable link at the end of the video for you guys to click on it. And you guys can check it out in full. Hope you guys do check it out. Hope you enjoy it. Anyways, thank you for watching, guys. I'm Rohan, and as always, this is Mind for Combat. At number 3, I got the Habib Nurmagomedov Tony Ferguson saga. What nonsense was that? And it's still ongoing, really. A win, and Tony's right back into the mix. But will Khabib be trying to fight him? I don't know. He wants to fight GSP if he beats Justin Gaethje, so we'll see. But this is really a disgusting saga that's played out, that has robbed us from being able to see arguably the greatest two lightweights of all time fighting each other. Now we have Habib Nurmagomedov, who's the current champion at the time, and from the first time they were matched, 5 attempts ago, he was an undefeated contender, and Tony Ferguson had just started his win streak. Tony Ferguson, of course, had that historic 13-fight win streak put together that really made him stand out as well, and it was pretty incredible. It may have been 12-fight win streak. I think it was 12-fight win streak actually. And these were two guys at the top of the game, top of the division, virtually unbeatable. Would have been coming into the fight on a combined UFC 27-fight win streak at 155, which is the most stacked weight class in the history of UFC. And the fact that the fight never happened because of pullouts either side, and then COVID and everything that happened. It's just so bitter to me, the fact that we will never have seen these guys. And even if the fight does happen now, I'm not gonna lie, and I know this may make me sound like a bit of a casual, but the fact that Tony's lost now and he's not on his win streak, and we've seen him get brutally finished by Justin Gaethje, that fight had lost so much of his luster. I would still, of course, be excited to see that fight, but the fact that Tony Ferguson lost really does impact it, and it's just never going to be the same. One of these guys should have ended each other's win streaks. That's not how it's played out. It's unfortunate, and it's my number 3 biggest disappointment in the history of mixed martial arts.